What up, everybody? It's your boy Halle back again, GVG Podcast, Detroit representative to the day that I die, east side in the building and all that good stuff. I hope you blessed. I hope this message finds you blessed. Y'all know what it is. It's GVG. It's God versus gods, the true God versus the people and things and deities that we choose to worship and put in front of him. Y'all know we drop episodes every Thursday. I get my points off the phone, then I go off the fly. Y'all ready? It's already done. What up to my people? I just want to give praise to the Heavenly Father and say thank you for my health, for my family, my friends, the gift of companionship, everything, life, limb, focus, and determination, waking up to see another day. I just thank you. Y'all ready? Let's get into it. So today we're going to be talking about media, money, and monsters. Today we're going to be talking about how the media creates a monster and how there's a money trail behind it. There's something that's fueling and funneling all of this misinformation and all this craziness that we get every day. Y'all ready? We're going to jump into this. I know this is going to be controversial for some people, but hey, this is what we do. And I can't hold back. I got to keep going. The truth is the truth. So this election got a lot of people tripping and jumping off bridges and hating their families and all these different things and saying if you vote for this person, you should kill yourself. If you vote for this person, you're racist. If you vote for this person, blah, blah, blah. Everybody's going crazy. It's an extreme time. And I think we all have, lost our patience, lost our senses, practically lost our mind. So the first thing I want to talk about is all of this gaslighting, man. I'm tired of the gaslighting. Now, normally I don't watch the news anymore. I don't watch CNN and none of that propaganda anymore because I already know what they're going to say before they say it. But I was on X, formerly Twitter, and I was watching. There was a guy, I can't necessarily remember his name, but he was making talking points, and there was a rabbi on there, and this guy was all gas. I mean, all gas. He was gaslighting everything. So the African-American male said that he didn't believe that boys should be able to play in girls' sports. And this rabbi instantly cut him off and started going crazy and said, I'm not going to let you talk about transgenders and this is a slur and they are not boys, they're girls. It basically dude went crazy. And it was like immature to me. It was infantile. I was like, bro, relax. When did we get to a point where we can't even hear another person's opinion or conversation without us being triggered? This dude got triggered by this man speaking his opinion, which is actually a fact. The assigned sex that you were from birth is actually your assigned sex. When you talk about gender, I'm not going to say that people can't change their gender in their mind. You can do whatever you want. You can be a paper bag if you want to be in your mind. But that doesn't mean that the rest of the world has to cater to your so-called delusion. You can say I'm right or wrong, but we spitting facts on today. So I'm tired of the gaslighting that most people are doing when it comes to what they believe is true in their mind. If you believe that you are a butterfly and I don't, why would you bash me for it? Why would you hate me for it? Why would you scream and cry and kick and say whatever you want when you should be comfortable in your skin? I'm a black male. If someone says I'm white, I'm going to think that they're ridiculous. I'm not going to sit up there and argue and say, hey, I'm black. You don't know what you're talking about. No, I'm going to say that maybe that person is somewhere else in their mind. So it's the same way. If I'm comfortable in my skin, and someone misgenders me or calls me something or calls someone else something that I may not agree with, I should still have the maturity to either correct that person with love or just let them deal with it how they deal with it. Let them live their lives, because everybody isn't going to agree with what you think is the truth or what some people would call your delusion. But on social media, Trump won. You can see on social media, people are cutting their hair. A lot of women are going bald, and you see people screaming and writing with marker on their faces and crying and saying they're going to be a slave, their rights are going to be taken. Like, it's very extreme. The mental health issues that I'm seeing, it's sad. Because presidents don't necessarily change your life. The city council, the mayor, the governor, the people within your region, within your district are the ones who change, normal everyday policies. But presidents don't necessarily change anything because they have to go through, Congress and House and Senate and all these different things that they deal with. So for people to say, oh, I'm going to leave the country, or I'm going to cut my hair, or I'm going to go crazy, or I hope everyone who voted for this person dies, that is no way to live, because what you wanted didn't happen. A lot of people live in this world dealing with things that aren't necessarily in their favor. So I don't agree with all of the gaslighting. I don't agree with all of the hate and all of the wishing that people would die. And I don't agree. I don't believe that when two sides are against each other, let's say you take boxing, for example. You have the red corner and the blue corner, Republican and Democrat. When those guys go in there and beat the crap out of each other, when the end of that match, when the bell rings, they come up to each other and they give each other mutual respect, and they give each other, sometimes they give each other a hug or a dap, and say much respect. Why aren't we doing that? Why are we so deranged and crazy in this time that we can't even live with the fact that there are winners and there are losers? We got people out here saying, what's wrong with America? America has let me down. I don't understand. Everybody's racist. Everybody's this. Everybody's that. No, people have opinions. People are human beings. And you can't hold them to your perfect standard that you believe is perfect, because there's someone who will say that you are wrong. Stop gaslighting. So in that same CNN segment, when the African-American male said that boys shouldn't be able to play with girls in like sports, the Jewish rabbi started to cut him off and get a little agitated and emotional and go crazy and say, I'm not going to stand here while you basically spit out a slur. He was like, no, that's a slur. I'm not going to stand here and let you spit out a slur talking about this and that. They're not boys, they're trans girls. I guess people are so woke and so tone deaf that they don't know who they're talking to. A Jewish rabbi, and don't take this the wrong way, but a Jewish rabbi is sitting up there telling a black man that he won't stand for a slur. African Americans have been dealing with slurs since we can remember. And we've been dealing with more than slurs. We've been dealing with racism, prejudice, hate, anger, envy, jealousy, violence against us, segregation, anything you want to name that is hateful or harmful, Black people have dealt with it. So I do believe it was very tone deaf of this rabbi to talk about slurs when you're preaching to the choir. Now, that doesn't take away the fact that he should be able to feel your pain and understand that a slur is a slur. But is this a slur? If you call a boy who transitioned from boy to a girl, and you call him a boy, is that a slur? Or is it just true? See, if you call a Black man a nigga, that's a slur. If you call a Mexican a wetback or a spick, that's a slur. If you call a white man a cracker or a hunky, that's a slur. But if you call a boy who transitioned to being a girl a boy, that's not a slur. That's something you made up in your mind. And you can hate me, you can talk bad about me. I want all the smoke because we gonna bring truth over here. We not living in a delusion. The Heavenly Father made you what you are, and the Heavenly Father don't make no mistakes. If he made you a boy, you're a boy. If he made you a girl, you're a girl. If you want to transition to something else, that's your prerogative. No one can stop you. This country gives free will, but understand that I am able to think with my own brain. So if I don't agree with you, I don't agree with you. That doesn't mean I'm going to hate you. That doesn't mean I'm going to try to kill you. I will exist in this realm with you, but don't try to bully me into thinking the way you think. Just like I don't want to bully you into being straight. I don't want to bully you into being what you don't want to be. So don't bully me. Stop trying to bully the people who don't agree with you. But see, the media has changed this. The media has turned people into monsters and extremists and hating each other and thinking that we can't disagree and still coexist in this world. The Heavenly Father made this world so that we will have differences, but we can exist together. And this is another thing that get on my nerves. Bro, you are too woke. Bro, you too woke. Some of you people out here are too woke. Do you not see yourself? Do you not understand how crazy you are? How idiotic you sound? How crazy you sound? I come from a time where truth was truth. I come from a time where if you were overweight, people called you overweight. I come from a time where if you were skinny, people called you skinny. If you were on crack, people called you a crackhead. I come from a time where if you stole something, people called you a thief. If you was messing around with a bunch of people, they would call you promiscuous or a whore. I come from a time where if your word didn't mean anything, they would call you a liar. I come from a time where if you was cheating on your girl, they call you a cheater. I come from a time where abortion was abortion. I come from a time where when men dressed like women, they were called transvestites. Had whole families and everything, but they dressed like women, drag queens. But now we're in this time where if you call someone overweight, it's body shaming. If you call someone skinny, it's body shaming. If you say someone isn't doing what they're supposed to, you're vibe off or you're hating. And this time, if you don't agree and affirm what everyone is doing in their delusion, something is wrong with you. So if a person wants to not go to school and smoke weed and drink all day, and I say, bro, you going down the wrong path. And they say, don't bring no bad vibes around me. You hating on me, bro, and this, that, and the other. Who's the stupid one? Like, honestly, have we really moved into the time of idiocracy? Where bad is good and good is bad? Have we moved in a time where common sense is gone? Have we moved to a time where OGs can't tell the YGs nothing? We literally have moved into a time where you can't tell young people anything. You can't even teach them how to cook. They don't want to hear it. It's different in today's time, people. And part of those differences is misgendering. If a person comes from a time where all we knew was man, woman, boy, girl, and you're in a time where they have 67 genders, I have to respect the time you grew up in, but you also have to respect the time that I grew up in. We didn't have all of that. There's some people who were born when there were black and white TVs, and there were some people who were born when there were color TVs. The person with the black and white TV has a completely different outlook and perspective than the other. So I can't get mad at you for growing up in a time where you have all of these different genders. But you also can't get mad at me for growing up in a time where we only had 2 genders. The media is pitting us against each other. Nobody's mad at you because you're lesbian, or because you're gay, or because you're bisexual, or because you're trans, or because you're queer. No one's mad at you for that. There may be a few people, but the majority of people are not mad at you for choosing what you are sexually. We are angry because of the bullying. We are angry because we just trying to live a normal life and do what we do, just like you. But for some reason, we are bullied into having to bow down to you. Why? When I was growing up, there were gay people, there were lesbians, and they didn't care about what you thought about them. They didn't care if you affirmed them. They didn't care if you made parades about them, because it wasn't about all of that. Social media has made those things present. They didn't care if you agreed with their lifestyle. It's theirs. So understand this on today, people, that the media has changed the viewpoint into bullying. You don't have to bully people into agreeing with you or bowing down to you. Live your life and I'll live mine. I can think the way I want and you can think the way you want. It's called free will, people. And I don't even want to get into biblically what is said. The Sodom and Gomorrah, that town being turned into, fire and brimstone. I'm not going to say whether that's right or wrong. I'm not going to say whether you're right or wrong. What I'm saying is there's a nature of law. Man, woman, child. There are 2 people who get together and they create other people. A man and a man can't create. A woman and a woman can't create. That doesn't mean that you can't do what you do. What I'm saying is biblically, it goes man, woman, child. And that's how the world is fruitful and multiplies. So believe me, I'm not your enemy on today. I'm not trying to be mean or be crazy or angry to you or do any of the things that you say. This isn't a hate crime piece or none of that. What I'm saying is the Heavenly Father has purpose for us, but the devil also has purpose for us. And sometimes we listen to propaganda. We listen to those evil voices in our mind. We listen to the media. We listen to people that we shouldn't be around, because sometimes the devil sends people in your life and sometimes you listen to them also. So what I'm saying is there's a natural law. God has a natural law of man, woman, child. If it's not that natural law, then who is speaking to you to make you think that you should go against the natural law of life? So I won't say if you're right or wrong. I'm asking you to find out what voice is telling you to go against natural life. Because there is a spirit behind what you're doing. There's a spirit behind everything that we do in this world. Whether you're gay, straight, a murderer, a tax collector, a soccer mom, no matter who you are, a weed smoker, sober, there's always a spirit behind the things that we do. So find out who is driving you. But also understand this, that you are not without evil. People have evil. Not just men, not just straight white men, not just, what do they call it, cisgenders. Everybody has some kind of evil. Now understand this. You can go on social media right now and you can see people saying, if you voted for Donald Trump, I hope you die. You got people on there saying, we should assassinate him. The lady who was over the FEMA, the black lady who was over FEMA, who wouldn't give help to the people who had Trump signs. The various white men who were calling young black children niggers with their MAGA signs. Do you not understand that there's evil on both ends, that there's evil on both sides? Do you not understand that all men are capable of evil? Whether you be black, white, Asian, Latino, etc., man, woman, child, we all are capable of evil and sin. And I think sometimes we forget that when we point the finger. When you point the finger, you should always look in the mirror first. Because if you want someone dead based on a choice, what does that make you? A murderer in your heart. And the Heavenly Father does not want murder. For any man who has hate in his heart as a murderer, he shall go to hell. This is the Bible. This is not me. Whether I agree with it or not, whether I believe that or not, what I'm saying is this is the Bible. And most of you say that you're biblically sound or you're trying to follow the Bible. Understand that a man who has hatred in his heart is a murderer. Therefore, you're destined for hell because you're going to continue to have that hate in your heart. That racism, that prejudice, that sexism, all the different things that you have in your heart, you're going to take it to your grave. And all men are capable of that evil. But you're also capable of good. You're capable of blocking out those voices that are trying to get you to be evil and do bad things. Understand that the media has done its job. The media has done its job in making us hate each other and not realize that we're not that much different. So earlier I touched on the man who said that calling a trans boy or a trans girl a different, their assigned sex was a slur. So you have trans slurs versus minority slurs, or just versus slurs, period. If you call someone what they are, I don't believe that that's a slur. If you call me an African American or a Negro or a black man, because that's common, I'm not going to look at that as a slur. But if you call me a nigger, I'm going to believe that that's a slur. If you call a proud Mexican man a Latino or a brown, they're okay with that. But if you call them a beaner or a wetback or a spick, that's a slur. If you call a Caucasian male Caucasian or white, they'll be okay with that. But if you call them a hunky or a cracker, that's a slur. Understand that on today, people, that if I call a boy, even though he transitioned to a girl, in my mind, if I believe he's still a boy, it's not a slur. because you made that choice on your own. I didn't choose to be black. So understand that, people. If I call you what you are, it's not a slur. If I call you what you are, it's not a slur. If you want me to call you what you chose to be and I disagree, it's not a slur. A white man didn't choose to be white. A woman didn't choose to be a woman. But you chose to transition. A robber chooses to rob a bank. So if you call him a robber, it's not a slur. But I do want to say this. The Heavenly Father has sent all of us on a mission. Some people are clay, some people are gold, but He has sent us all on a mission. And one of the things that I see and believe in my heart is that all lives matter. Not just black, not just white, not just trans, not just, whatever you want to say, LGBTQ. All lives matter. Every person that is walking around with a soul, you matter. But I think we get into these echo chambers and we start to believe that one soul matters more than the other based on the skin that it has or the sex that it has. LGBTQIA lives are not better than heterosexual lives. White lives are not better than black lives. Asian lives are not better than Latino lives. All lives matter. The Heavenly Father set up this pot of gumbo, this pot of jambalaya with all these different ingredients for us to work together and be together. So I don't believe that one person is better than the other. I believe that we make choices better than each other. Our actions can be judged. But as far as being a human being, we all go through the same things. We all know the joy and the pain and the laughter and the crying and sickness and having to use the bathroom and drink water and sleep. We all have those things in common. If you hit me, will I not hurt? If you tell a joke, will I not laugh? These are things that we have in common. So I want to take this time out to tell you that your life matters regardless of what you identify as. Your life matters regardless of what your heritage is. Your life matters regardless of your sex. Understand that on today, people, that the Heavenly Father said that your life matters. So it matters. He put you on this earth for a reason, people. There's one thing that I do have a problem with. Why do you spread so much hate claiming love? One of the funniest things I see is when I see people who aren't necessarily oppressed acting as if they're being oppressed or they're going to get oppressed. Like you see white women shaving their head bald because Donald Trump won the election. You see women talking about you should kill yourself. I hope your kids die. I hope you never excel in the world. Like they're wishing hate on people, but they're doing it in the name of love. They're saying if Kamala would have won, it would have been love. No, you just want to be right. You just don't want to be wrong. You didn't want to lose. So it's one of those things where you're not actually being oppressed. Nothing is happening to you. Nothing is changing outside of your mind. And I don't understand how you can, in the same breath, say that this man is a racist, he's sexist, he's crazy, he's this, he's that. But everyone who follows him, I want them to die. Aren't you just as bad as him, if not worse? Make it make sense. And like I said, I want all the smoke. I know people gonna disagree with me because people be in their feelings. But I'm trying to think logically. I'm trying to use logic in today's time to say, you can't fix hate with hate. You can't fight fire with fire and expect the fire to go out. That's not how it works, people. Love douses out hate. So if you are a loving person, continue to love. Stop all of the hating and saying I'm hating people because this person isn't what love represents. Love thy brethren. This is also crazy. Back when I was growing up, nobody told you who they voted for. Nobody told you any of their business when it came to voting. Could be your best friend. All the people at the job, it didn't matter who it was. You could ask white guy Jim, black guy Earl, who you voting for? That's private. I'd rather you not know. We understood that opinions can sometimes push people away, push people apart. So in when I was younger in that time, we kept those things private. I say that because my question was, when did voting determine one's life? When did voting determine a person's whole life? When did a vote determine how you felt about someone that you've known your whole life? You know this person. So if they vote different than you, all of a sudden, they're not your brother anymore. They're not your friend anymore. There are literally therapists and psychiatrists telling people to push away from people that voted different than you. That you don't have to be around them because they don't have they didn't vote what you voted. So for your mental health, you should get away from them. That is ridiculous. What are you talking about? We come from a time where you can have differences and still exist. What is this? We have to be clones and robots and agree with each other on every single matter, or we can't exist. All of those psychiatrists and therapists should be ashamed of themselves because they are living in the same delusion that they are teaching other people to live in. Understand that on today, people. Voting should not determine who you date, who you go around, or who you talk to, or how you talk to them. Everyone is entitled to their own opinion. We have free will, and everyone can have their own viewpoints and perspectives. You can't take that away from people because then you are thinking with the God complex. That everyone has to do what you say. And if they don't do what you say, there's going to be repercussions. And I say that to say, who of you is without sin? I can raise my hand and say that I've sinned. I've done wrong. I've done people wrong. I've done bad things. I've done things I'm not proud of. And I'm pretty sure you can say the same thing. But in today's time of cancel culture, if someone makes a mistake, the crime doesn't necessarily fit the punishment. We want people to lose their jobs and their livelihoods based on a word they said. We want people to lose everything that they have, that they've built, based on one act. I don't agree with that. There are some heinous acts that are exceptions, and sometimes people get what's coming to them. But there are people who just make genuine mistakes in this world because we're human beings. And I don't believe that they should be stripped of everything that they've ever worked for based on one mistake. And I think it's always easier when you're the person who's pointing the gun. He who is without sin, let him cast the first stone. No one can do it. We are all with sin. We all have done something wrong. So think about that and look in the mirror before you start to crucify and slander other people, because you'd probably do the same thing if you were in their position. Another thing that people don't talk about, I'm tired of the felon slander. I get it. Far as the presidency, maybe a felon shouldn't be running the country. But I'm from Detroit. There are a lot of felons in Detroit. And I'm tired of the felon slander acting as if men can't grow up, men can't change, men are just restricted to bars because they did something wrong. I have family members who are felons, friends who are felons. And I'm tired of this felon slander that people are throwing around freely because they're talking about Donald Trump. Donald Trump is not the same as all of these people out here that identify with that word. And a lot of you are out here slandering people and they're catching strays and you don't even know you're doing that. So understand this on today, people. I'm not saying that you shouldn't say he's a felon or felon shouldn't be fit to run the country, but I'm tired of the felon slander because there are so many people in this world that just made mistakes. They were in the wrong place at the wrong time, or they were taught wrong, or they grew up and this is what they knew, or they made mistakes, or they had their eyes on the prize, on some money, or whatever it was, and they went to jail and they became a felon. And now they're an ex-con and they're trying to change their life and make it better. And it doesn't make it better when people are out here saying that ex-cons and felons shouldn't be able to do anything. I'm tired of the felon slander. The Heavenly Father gives you chances. As long as you have breath in your lungs, you have a chance. You can be forgiven. So understand that on today, people. It is time for us to forgive. It's time for us to learn that we are human beings and that we make mistakes, and sometimes we fall short. It's about the getting back up that matters and learning from your mistakes. Another thing about this media system and this new world, so-called world we live in, is people don't want to grow up. It's time for you to grow up and live your life. I don't know what to say when I see grown people cutting their hair because someone won an election, writing on their face and punching their steering wheel and crying and saying they're going to be a slave and abortion rights are going to be gone. Like, there's a lot of stuff that people are saying right now that they haven't researched or looked up. And there are a lot of people doing things based on emotion. You're acting like a toddler. You're acting like a 5-year-old. It's time for you to grow up and live your life. Understand that regardless of what happens, you still have to be you. So whatever is going on in this world, whether it be about the presidents, whether it be a boyfriend, a girlfriend, whatever it is, you have to learn maturity to handle yourself through adversity. This is just another adverse situation, and you are not handling it well. Writing on your face and crying and screaming and acting out, who does that? Children. You are a grown adult. It is time for you to grow up and mature and leave those childish ways behind. You have people counting on you. You have people that love you. And what you are showing them is that when times get hard, we are going to scream and cry and go in a corner and not live because something happened that we didn't want to happen. Do you not get that? People understand that the Heavenly Father wants you to mature. He wants you to grow. He doesn't want you to stay in your childish ways. A lot of us are still in our childish ways. So regardless of who wins this or who wins that or what goes right or wrong in your life, it is time for you to grow up and be mature and handle it as an adult. Understand this on today, people, that the media has done its job with brainwashing us to be consumers and impulsive and emotional and dangerous characters. It has done its job with making us extreme and not being able to exist with each other. There's so much hate out here. There's so much jealousy and envy and craziness in the world today because the media has done its job through music, through television, through social media, through everything. They have done their job in brainwashing America. And I don't know if we'll ever be able to get back to a place of normalcy because we just keep running with whatever they give us. So understand this on today, people. It's your boy, Hallie, and the Heavenly Father wants you to learn. He wants you to grow. He wants you to change. He wants you to not be okay with where you are. He wants you to understand that this world has ups and downs and adversity, but you are supposed to learn how to overcome them. So understand this on today, people. It's your boy, Hallie, and the media has tricked us all. It's done its job. What are you going to do to deprogram yourself from this matrix and live a normal life? This your boy, Hallie. I love all of y'all. This GVG podcast. We out of here. It's already done.